Hey class, here is your characterization video. You'll be taking notes on this. So as we look at phase 2, again, we're looking at the elements of a character. So we started to read this revising and editing passage about somebody struggling to write a character. We read comedies and tragedies. Those are the stories that characters live in. And then we started to look at our character archetypes. Our character archetypes, as we've mentioned and discussed slightly, are the foundation of those characters. All of these characters that we love and like to watch in movies, shows, hear stories about, read about, those characters often fit a large part of a profile or a blueprint for one of these archetypes. And the nice thing about one of these archetypes is that they are recognizable. We see them repeated in lots of different stories, and they've been repeated for hundreds, thousands of years, depending on the archetype. So we're going to use these archetype slides to develop our understanding of characters who fit these archetypes, and we're going to look at these characters, do some quick analysis. Just to remind you what you're doing, each character has strengths and weaknesses, and you're going to make sure you find examples of these. So define the words, and as we read, as we explore, we're going to fill in examples. So make sure you write the name of the character when you do the example, and provide the example from the text, also text evidence, for what that character does, what they say, what they think, that definitely shows the characteristics, the traits, that they are whatever the archetype is. As we continue, we've compared and contrasted, or we are comparing and contrasting two different archetypes. And we are going to read this nonfiction piece about diversity of character types, but then we get to our character background. So there's a few ways to think about characters in a story, and I think maybe the first way, these steps are going to be the easiest way to access who a character is based on what they do. So we have this character page that has a bunch of background information. And we also have this other character page, which is FAST. You're going to want to write this down in your notes. FAST stands for feelings, actions, what do they say, and what do they think. So these are things that we can add up in a character to get a better idea of who they are based on what they feel, what actions they do or show, what do they say, and then what do they think. So the first one you're going to do is you. Based on a you story, you are going to put your self through this character analysis slide. You're also going to do your self through this character analysis slide. We've got Sherlock Holmes here. All of these say based on you story. This one's going to be Sherlock Holmes. Let's do Sherlock Holmes first. That will be our example. Go ahead and change yours to match mine. So let's go back to FAST. So as we read Sherlock Holmes, we would be adding and dropping what the character says, or what they feel, what they act like, what they say, and what they think here. We're putting examples and our analysis there. That's the in-story analysis. So we start to understand who this character is, the reasons they do things, how they react to certain situations based on their behavior, what they say, what they think inside of the story. We also need to try our best to think through this background information too, because this background information helps us understand the fast information. So the more information we have, the better we understand the character. So we need to make sure we have a general idea of things like name, cultural info, job, where they live, age, gender. The best we can fill this out is going to yield our best understanding of the character. When we start to get into physical appearance, that is one of the big indicators for why characters do what they do. Really large, muscular, fast, athletic characters are often heroes, because a lot of the stories that heroes are required to behave heroically in require great feats of strength or athleticism. So we have to think about physical appearance. Now, certainly not every story requires a hero to do that. So what is their personality and what is their behavior? How do they act around other people? Do they automatically go talk to people? Are they an extrovert? Or are they an introvert? Are they shy and like to stay away from other people? How do they speak? Do they have an accent? What are some of their identity traits? Are they honest? Are they helpful? Are they kind? Maybe they're snarky. Maybe they're intelligent. And maybe they're helpful too. It really, really, really just depends. So we've got 3 identity traits. We've got 3 behaviors. Remember, behaviors are things that people do. Identity traits are maybe the internal guiding side of what they do. So an example would be if an identity trait of kindness could make a behavior of being helpful. Their inner self. Are they a hero or a villain, as far as you know? Mental state. Are they all there? Are they making sound decisions? Or are they erratic? Are they eccentric? Do they hear one thing and go with it automatically no matter what other evidence tells them? Do we know their motivation? Are they motivated by some dark, traumatic event in their past? Are they motivated to meet a goal in their future? Do we know their hopes and fears? Is there a religious or spiritual component to who they are? And then what kind of emotions do they show privately? So, for example, Batman does not show the same emotions when he is Batman versus when he is Bruce Wayne. Maybe even more to the point, Bruce Wayne doesn't show the same emotions when he's out and about versus when he does in the Batcave or at Wayne Manor with Alfred. So we want to make sure we are able to distinguish how are people acting, how are characters acting around other people, how are they acting around themselves. And then what do we know about their family and their friends? We have their job guiding their behaviors. Are they doing things because of their job? Are they doing things not because of their job? And then do we know any important memories? Again, if we go back to Batman, an important memory for Batman is his parents being murdered after a movie when he was very young. But it is something he remembers. So if we fill out this background information and are fast while we're reading the story, we should have a much better idea of how to identify the different archetypes. We want to put all 3 of those together to have a complete understanding of the characters in our stories.